My grandmother always used to say, like when I had girlfriends in high school, she's like, they stood by you when you were fat. And my wife has stood by me when I've been fat. And then a few years ago, I dropped a bunch of weight, man. I saw a documentary called Fed Up, and it was about sugar. And for the first time, like I guess because they used cartoons, I understood sugar's effect on the body. And I was like, oh, so I should stop eating sugar. And I did, and I lost like 80 pounds. So it was a sudden thank you. It's if you could get past the desire for sugar, because it's very much like a drug, and when you quit it, there's a withdrawal period where I was insanely depressed. Like for the first time in my life, I was like, I couldn't manufacture a positive thought and like that. My wife was like, that's because you got rid of your best friend, sugar. I was like, what do you mean? She's like, Kevin, you used to wake up and do like 2 fistfuls of popcorn-flavored jelly beans. And then you'd be like, where's breakfast? You know, so she's going, sugar leaving your food pyramid is like really affecting your body. You're gonna have an adjustment, like when Jason got off heroin or something like that. And so she's right, man. Like it was hard for 2 weeks. It was easy once you got past the 2 weeks, suddenly you didn't think about it anymore. But in those first 2 weeks, I would have sucked for Lucky Charms, man. I missed my good friend Sugar. So as Sugar went away, the weight just kind of like fell off and stuff. I didn't have to do anything. I walk dogs. I walk my dog up a hill, and it's not very far. It's like 1.5 miles up and down. And that's the only exercise I get. I do it in the neighborhood. Jason Muse lives down the street from me. We didn't buy houses near each other, but he bought his house in my neighborhood. And every time we drive past, my kid's like, oh, it's so cute that you live near your best friend. I was like, he lives near me. Anyway, Jason comes over sometimes. We walk the dogs together up the hill and stuff like that. And periodically, people drive through the hills and they're like, Jane, Silent Bob walk dogs. So just dropping sugar and walking the dogs like really made a difference, and like the weight kind of fell off. And at one point, like my underwear started sagging, because I used to wear very big underwear, like 5XL underwear or something like that. So that started sagging because the weight kind of went away. And my wife finally took notice of it and was like, this is shameful. She's like, they just keep falling off your body and what we're seeing isn't any better, you know? So she's like, you gotta go get some new underwear and stuff. And if you're gonna do it, don't buy maroon underwear. That's what I would wear all the time. I had this maroon underwear, because I usually just get my at a fat guy store, and they don't give you a lot of choices. Now they do. Now they put on like, hey, there's a Batman shirt for you, fat guy. But generally speaking, back in the day, it was like big dog and like that. Very generic, but very I am overweight. So I would get my underwear at the fat guy store, and they didn't have much of a selection. It was always like tighty whities. That's what I wear and stuff. I don't wear the crime fighters, Jason calls them. I don't wear boxers, just those tighty whities. And so one time I went into the fat guy store, and they had next to the tighty whities the most beautiful thing I'd ever seen, underwear that was colored, and it was maroon. And I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna look like Superman wearing this. You know? So I took it home, and it was a 3-pack, and I showed my wife. I was like, look, man, I was like, you'd say I never change anything, but I went and bought new underwear. And she goes, maroon? And I was like, yeah. And she goes, why? And I was like, I'm expressing my individuality, you know? And she goes, oh my God, take these back. And I was like, and why? And she was like, maroon underwear, Kevin, I get a vote in this. I'm the only one that sees your underwear, you know? And I was like, all right. And so I went back to the fat guy store. I bought 12 more pair, her. So. And every time we would get intimate, she'd like open up my jorts and be like, ugh, maroon, you know? It was a hurdle to get through and shit. So she was saying, if you're gonna get new underwear, don't get maroon. I was like, maroon forever!